I, 21M, ruined my sister's, 29F, wedding party and now I hate myself for it. Before I start describing what happened, I'm writing this only like an hour after everything happened, so my thoughts may not be too clear yet. And #X200B. My sister has been married since last year's summer, but due to COVID, she decided to postpone the party to this year. Lots of people came, we were almost 100 overall and I had so much fun meeting everyone in the first few hours. I was only slightly annoyed by some comments of my uncle who sat next to me during dinner. Since he planned to drink, he was asking around if someone could drive him home later in the evening. He also asked me even though he knows I very rarely use the car. I refused to drive him home and then he started to insult me, calling me a coward for not wanting to drive and saying stuff like, if you have a girlfriend, then my name is XY. While this definitely hurt me, I tried to go on with the evening. And #X200B. After midnight, my mood started to change rather rapidly. First I thought that I was just tired, but after a bit I started to worry about so many different things. I've had anxiety for a couple of years and I'm already in therapy because of that. Usually, my anxiety hits especially in the summer since there's a long uni break. I don't see my friends that often anymore and just don't have a very structured daily routine for most of the summer. I went out just to think a little by myself. I was worrying about all sort of different things, about my uni exam next week and how I haven't studied enough yet, about my coaching license I'm currently taking and where I have a big course coming up next week and how I'm also worried that I'm going to fail it, about what I'm going to do all summer and if I'll have anxiety attacks again, about how me and my sister planned to sing a karaoke song during the party and how I didn't have the guts to do it, about how I still haven't had a relationship in 21 years, about the words my uncle said, etc. At some point, I realized that some people were probably worried about me standing all alone outside, so naturally I also worried about what I'm going to do if someone sees me like this. And #X200B. My parents saw me after a bit and asked me what was wrong. There I just randomly started to cry after saying, I don't know, a couple of times. We went inside again after a few minutes and my parents said we would go home since it was already late. My sister saw me and she probably noticed that I still had tears in my eyes, so she took me outside to talk to me. Of course I said nothing was wrong, but she asked me if I had an anxiety attack. And then well, I just started to shout, why today? Why does this need to happen the day of your wedding party? Why did I have to ruin even this? She told me I didn't ruin anything and that she was sorry that she didn't notice earlier something was wrong. She then took me to the car and I went home with my parents. And #X200B. And now I'm sitting here at home, hating myself that I ruined the party for my sister. Of course she said I didn't ruin anything, but I'm sure she's just saying it to make me feel better. I know that she's probably worried now and it would have been better if she hadn't seen me or I hadn't had that weird anxiety attack in the first place. This is just so weird, especially because there was no reason for it to happen today. I feel like I could have prevented it. Now I just don't know what to say to my sister tomorrow when she gets home and what to do to make things better again. I know I can't change what happened but I feel like I need to do something to make up for it. And #X200B. Too long did not read. I had an anxiety attack during my sister's wedding party, got her worried and started crying in front of her. Now I'm not sure what to say or do to make up for making her party worse. And #X200B. Thanks in advance. I'm fairly positive you didn't ruin your sister's wedding. She doesn't think you did and, given that she knows you have anxiety attacks, I don't think this was out of the norm for her or that she blames you. And, I'm sure she's worried, BC you're her sibling, but that rationally she knows everything is okay, so this likely didn't ruin anything for her. Thank her for being patient with you. Thank her for being your sister. Congratulate her on the wedding. You did nothing wrong, your emotions are valid, and your anxieties are valid. The party was likely overwhelming and your uncle probably didn't help. Anxiety is a lying witch. Anxiety is whispering in your ear, telling you lies like, you ruined everything, but it's lying, I promise you. Please talk to your therapist, they'll know how to best help muzzle the liar. P.S. Your uncle sounds like a jerk. You didn't ruin it. In your eyes, yes the night was ruined. In hers, you were only little blip in what was probably a great night. Of course she probably did worry, but anxiety attacks are always a bigger deal to the person having it than everyone else around them. Try to get some sleep, but there's really no need to make up for it, you did nothing wrong. It was an overwhelming day. You are tired, stressed and your uncle was abusing you. Trust your family when they say you ruined nothing. Consider talking to a mental health professional. Oh honey, you didn't ruin anything. You didn't cause a scene. You didn't pick a fight. You held it together, removed yourself from the situation to the best of your abilities and, when you needed it, you were honest and asked for help. I am proud of you. I bet so is your sister. Dude, you didn't ruin anything. It doesn't seem like you made a scene. I doubt most guests even noticed what was going on, and I'm sure that your sister was concerned, but I highly doubt that it ruined her night. Don't beat yourself up and consider some counseling if you are. You ruined what? All good, my man. Don't beat yourself up over it. I ditched my girlfriend at the bar. Before you judge me, please read the whole story. So I, 33 male, met this woman, 35 female, 20 years ago while I was in middle school and she was in high school. We were dating for like a week. At that age I can't really call it dating. Our relationship was sabotaged by everyone around us at the time. Our friends and family basically broke us up on purpose. Fast forward to earlier this year, and we finally got together right before my planned move out of state. I had tried contacting her several times before all of this throughout the years, but with no avail. We spent about a week together where she knew I would be moving to another state before we got together. I moved out of state, and a month or so afterwards she had problems I don't want to get into here. She decided to cross the country to be with me, but this is where things turned weird. She started treating me like a servant. She was always talking down to me, saying things like, I am a queen and I deserve to be treated as such. She was demanding and controlling. One night this week we went to the bar and she had a bit too much to drink. On our walk home her entire demeanor changed. She started referring to herself in the third person, asking, why is she drunk? Why did you let her drink so much? It started to freak me out a little, but I just thought she was drunk. When we got back to the house she started to tell me about how she always thought about slitting my throat in my sleep, still speaking in third person, and other things she would do to me, none of which were pleasant. This freaked me out and I couldn't sleep for days. Last night we were out at the same bar, and all I could think about was a way out. I contacted a friend I had met here and told him what was going on. He agreed to pick me up, drive me to grab my stuff, and give me a place to stay for a bit. I left his place today for an Airbnb a good distance from the place we had. Honestly, I fear for my own life whenever I'm around her. Before we went to the bar that night she was yelling at me to find her dress, to put her shoes on her, and just treating me like absolute garbage. Did I go too far leaving her like that, or did I make the right decision to protect myself from a woman who has severe mental issues? Honestly, I fear for my own life whenever I'm around her. Then you did not go too far ghosting her. Get the fuck out of that, dude. You're holding on to something from 20 years ago that just ain't what reality is today. You left an abusive relationship behind. You did the right thing. Don't let her suck you back in, no matter what. Thank you for your responses. I feel better about my decision to leave. I just wish I could have left under different circumstances. Dude, that would freak me the hell out. I would probably want a restraining order or something. I'm so glad you had your friend come get you and you got out. Thag sounds terrifying. I would be so creeped out, I'd probably leave the town and block her everywhere. She might be able to kill you. Stay a mile away from this crazy monster. This relationship moved way too fast and you imagined things would be the same when you were kids. Take this as a lesson to slow down and not move so drastically before you know your partner. It sounds like she has some serious mental issues. Talking in the third person how she does can be a sign of that. I've never heard of someone doing that just because they're drunk. My mother is a paranoid schizophrenic and she talks in third person when she's having an episode, often violent or disturbing intrusive thoughts like you described. Aunt, 67F, wrote to me, 19F, a really awful birthday card and I feel bad now. My mom, 54F, has a cousin, 67F, that happens to live close by to us. My mom's family is from a big city and it's just her and my aunt who now live in a small town very far away from family. My mom's cousin, my sister, and I just call her our aunt. Well, my aunt has lived in this town 40 years but my mom has for only 20. Anyways, growing up my mom was a stay-at-home mom and my aunt was a teacher. My aunt retired 3 years ago and at that time my mom went back to school and started working as a dialysis nurse. My mom works really hard hours, especially not being in the healthiest condition. Anyways, today was my birthday and my aunt has never really given me gifts until 4 or 5 years ago. I'm the type of person that just likes being told happy birthday, not given gifts. So this morning I woke up to one happy birthday text from my mom and all I got from her is I'm leaving my last gift for you on the porch. That's it. No happy birthday or nothing. So I thought, oh, maybe she is coming by to say happy birthday or something. Nope. My mom and I went to lunch, and when we come home there was a Target bag on the porch looking almost like it was chucked out a car window. I pick it up and it's got a card and a tube of exploded lotion. So I go inside and open the card, as sure enough it was my gift. Now, weeks prior to this, my aunt told me she was going to stop giving me gifts because I will have turned 19 and she does that with everyone. I was like, okay, understandable. But she kept on repeating it. So in the card she left, "This is your last birthday gift because you are 19. No happy birthday or nothing." The card wasn't even a birthday card. I know this may seem stupid, but I cried. This hurt my feelings. I asked my mom why my aunt did this, and apparently it's because my mom didn't have time to go to coffee with her the other day because she had work, and it's like my aunt doesn't understand that and is taking it out on me. My feeling are hurt because I always help her out without anything in return, and this just feels insulting. Yeah, just chuck the card and gift away and go and see with aunt. It sucks when adults let the children in their lives down, especially over petty bullshit clearly beyond your control. Is your aunt often conditional or withholding in her emotional treatment of you? If so, I would limit the time spent with this person to avoid being exposed to this sort of emotional volatility. Girl, you need to grow a thicker skin, and I mean this in the kindest possible way. There's going to be a lot of people in your life you're gonna have to deal with: crazy PPL, narcissists, people you thought were okay but turn out to be weird AF, mean people whose motives you just cannot fathom. You can't live life letting yourself be so affected by them that you spend a whole hour crying on your b-day because some weirdo decided to give you exploded lotion as a gift. Any grown woman who takes her anger out on an innocent because of something somebody else did is a piece of shit. Your aunt was way out of line for what she did, all because your mom didn't meet her for coffee due to work. How childish can she get? Just roll your eyes and forget about it. It's extreme to cut her out of your life over this, but don't let her walk all over you anymore. No favors unless it's truly something you want to do. I mean, it's pretty disappointing, but nothing to get upset over. Your life is no worse from not hearing happy birthday from someone. Your aunt doesn't seem like an awesome person, so I just wouldn't invest your time or thought in her and get on with your life. Have you ever given your aunt a birthday gift or a birthday card from just you? I understand where you're coming from with this. Something about that generation seems to be, if someone has hurt my feelings, I'll take it out on the whole family. I'll tell you happy birthday every year in place of her. Brother, 37 male, has been angry with me and my kids since the contents of Dad's will were dispersed. I'm 25 female and a mother of 2. My dad passed away nearly 3 years ago. His will stated that a few things would be sold off, and once there was an overall cash amount. I get 30%, mum, 68 female, gets 10%, brother gets 20%, my kids get 20% each, which stays in a trust until they meet certain requirements. Dad had a few reasons for this, and the main points are: I have 2 kids to look after while my brother and his wife are happily childfree. The kids will need their own money when they are adults. My brother, his wife, and my mother all work in very high-paying fields while I don't. Dad and I had a poor relationship, so the money is partly an apology. My brother spent a while trying to contest the will, so the money was only recently dispersed. He asked me directly if I would give him some of the money I got. He wants 25% of my total 30%, because then I'll have 5%, and my kids will have 20% each, and he'll have 45%, so in his mind that will make everything even. I've said that will not make everything even, but he said that as Dad gave me a house a few years back, it's still heavily skewed in my favor. I've tried explaining that a house and 5% in cash is not nearly the same as 45% cash, but he won't listen, and the house is a while other thing and isn't part of this and happened for various reasons. And it's causing a complete breakdown in my relationships with him and my mother, as Mum agrees that I should give my brother that money. Is there a way to make peace without forking over a large sum of money? Tell your brother to respect your father's wishes. He put it in his will, and the courts agreed. He needs to let it go. Tell him that. Be honest. You don't owe him anything. Don't feel bad, this is his issue. I went through something similar. My dad passed away, and in his will me and my sister were to split 50% of a small saving account. Come to find out, he had a separate CD in my sister's name in the amount of $25,000. Did I ask my sister to split the money? Nope. Did she offer me half? Nope. Am I in a better financial situation than my sister? Yup. My relationship did not suffer with my sister. I'm disappointed in my dad, but what can you do? That was his money to do as he pleased. Don't give him the money, he feels entitled to something that wasn't given to him. If he's that quick to ruin your relationship over money, when he sounds well off to begin with, then I'd just cut him off completely. After reading your responses, it sounds like your relationship with your family is already pretty strained. Your dad dispersed his belongings as he saw fit. Your brother unsuccessfully contested your dad's wishes and is now trying to bully you into giving in. This doesn't seem like a relationship he values, and it wouldn't surprise me if he found another reason to cut you off even if he got the money. Is this a relationship that's worth keeping? It doesn't sound like it. Your mom needs to stay out of it. If her influence was so valuable, she should have used it to get your dad to change his will. She's a whole other mess for having a rocky beginning with your children. What kind of grandmother does that? They were totally innocent. This isn't a negotiation. You just tell him no. How that affects the relationship is up to him, but you are in the right. Your dad's an asshole for doing this. I'm tired of people being punished for being child-free or not deadbeats. I chose to have kids. My siblings didn't. I'm not entitled to more money because of that. Advice: ignore him because it's on your dad, not you. It's not your fault he did this. And life's not fair. Your father definitely screwed over your brother and gave you significantly more. He has every right to be upset, but not so much at you. Once he contested the will, he forfeited any cooperation from those involved. IMHO. Forget making peace. You can't with his personality type. Just ignore him and, if need be, your mother.